We're back for a new week, and the championship is finally delivering the stern test we've been waiting for. We've won just 2 of our last 10 games, and one of those was incredibly fortunate. We've got a couple of free agents coming in, and today we've got 2 of the toughest tests we could hope for. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 35 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today to face 3rd place Norwich, managed by Maurizio Pochettino, and then 2nd place Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are managed by Sean Dyche. 2 tough managers, 2 tough teams, and 2 sides that will be battling it out for a Premier League place. To give you a bit of an indicator, 2 of the players Norwich are missing today are Scott McTominay and Jack Clarke. And we've got a goalkeeping injury problem, which has been a bit of an issue this season. Let's just put it that way. We have got a couple of new signings to introduce, though, in addition to these 2 big games. So if you're looking forward to seeing how our form turned and how we got fortunate last time out against relegation battle in Watford, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. I know it's not ideal to come back in a run that is poor, to say the very least, but I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for a league to deliver. It shouldn't have been so easy to climb the divisions, and finally, we're getting found out a bit. I know we discussed it a bit in the comments in the summer. We might be forced to change tactically the way things are going at the minute. We have brought in players who are capable of playing holding midfield, and that may be needed later in the season. But for now, let's have a look at what's been going on, because since you were last with me, we have had a lot of games, not a lot of wins, and most importantly, not a lot of goals, which, considering we've played 2 up front and been very aggressive all save, it's the first time we've really had a problem like that. So you were with me as we battered Oxford United and managed to lose 2-1 before deadline day. We then lost that Carabao Cup tie to Plymouth 1-0 at home. We did play a rotated side, so not a huge shock and not a huge disappointment. We then lost 1-0 at Coventry to a Matt Grimes goal, but again, not the worst display, just couldn't find the opening. And 2-1 away at Rotherham was a bigger concern. Joe Hugill gave us the lead in that one, but if you remember, Rotherham came up via the playoffs in League One, so to not be able to beat them or at least get a point was definitely a blow to our season. Then though, we did mercifully stop the run, and while we have only won 2 in 10, we've picked up wins in the middle and at the end, so we've not gone more than 4 without a win. And that's really important because we all know in FM, once you get to 5, you start getting those crisis messages, which we've managed to avoid. We did so with a 1-0 win at home to Birmingham, who came up automatically with us as champions in League One. Ben Gleeson getting a big goal in that game to thankfully get us 3 points. We were then held at home to Lincoln, who I think are still bottom of the league. Have they won a game yet? I'm not sure they have. They've picked up 1 win this season. Their other game that wasn't a defeat is the one against us here. Jayden Dan scored early, and again, we couldn't hold on. We were battered by West Ham as we rotated quite a bit. A defeat, a red card, a terrible performance. We didn't even score a goal ourselves. It was an own goal to do us a favour. We then drew 0-0 away at Blackpool, Joe Rose doing a good job as the deputy goalkeeper. Then away at Hull, a 3-0 defeat, a very heavy beating, before a crucial win last time out at home to Watford in a relegation zone. We weren't the better side, it was petering out, but a new superstar has emerged and scored a 94th minute winner. Don't think it was a brilliant goal. We got lucky, and let me show you what I mean, because we were petering out into a 0-0, and yes, the stats look great, but we had the lower expected goals. We weren't creating great chances. But let me show you Goodrum's last minute winner. We'll go and introduce him in a minute because he's one of those players we looked at on deadline day. But let me show you this goal because it is terrible goalkeeping, which has done us a favour. Ferry put an aimless ball in, goalkeeper missed it, and it's tapped in by Goodrum. Their keeper, incidentally, is Bajic, who we had at Bristol City in our save last year. And he's come back to do us a big favour that time. And we needed it as well, because with the next 3 games coming up, I don't see us getting many results. 3rd place, 2nd place, Blackburn are top 10 away, Reading are in 5th, and then it's Preston in 22nd, which will be a huge game. Again, probably after 4 games without a win. So it's going to make it a difficult run for us here. Daniel Rose is out long-term injured. From not having an injury in his first 2 years at the club, he's now had 3 this season already. This one by far the most serious, and he broke his arm catching the ball. Not quite sure how he's managed it, but Daniel Rose now out for the rest of the month. Let's go and have a look though at the transfers because we have got two players that have come in. The first of them is Roddy McGregor, and they both come from that pool of four players that we were looking at the end of the window. Their wage demands were a bit high, but they've gradually been coming down, and Roddy McGregor is the first of two that have now become acceptable. £4 a week for him on a long-term deal. A really decent playmaker, good midfielder, can play number 10, can also play in centre mid if we want to drop someone else to a holding role. And it just gives us a bit more flexibility. Made a few sub appearances, he's building his fitness up. But a player I've got a lot of respect for and could yet become better. The second one, we saw of course score that tap in against Watford. A big goal already, and to be fair to him, he's not a bad player. 24-year-old Tyler Goodrum. And again, you look at these guys, maybe not immediate first teamers. They've both agreed to be impact subs. But if they can train well and improve this year, we've got to bear in mind that we're reliant on loan players this year. And next season, I don't want that to be the case. So if we can replace Diblin and Russell Denny with these two that have come in, that would definitely be a positive for the football club. So let's go and get through to the fixtures because both of those two will be on the bench today. And this is the team we've gone for. Very similar to the one that played against Watford. But of course, Norwich, a team in far different form. But we've got a sold out new stadium. 4-3-3 for them. Very good players. Very inverted formation. And we're going to try and take advantage out wide because this is the 11 in full. We've got a strong bench. Sonny Hilton has dropped out after his stupid red card in that West Ham defeat. Dylan Smith is still missing out because of the loan rulings, and Russell Denny is dropped to the bench due to his match load. But this is the 11 in full. Joe Rose continues to deputise in goal. Good job we brought in a better backup because we've needed it so far. We've not been great defensively with him in goal, but the problems up front have taken the eye off that a bit. We've got Parks and Williams at fullback with Kwanzaa and Parker at centre half, McKinstry and Diblin the wingers, Gleeson and Morehouse in midfield, and then Hugill and Dans up front. Still both outscoring Presley, who's only really done well in the Cups this year. One championship goal in 13 appearances. I think a few of these players, and we saw it a little bit in League One last year, but a few of these players are just coming towards the end of what they can do. It is a shame, but we've still got some stars in there, so it might have to be a bold summer next year. We look at the championship table. Despite dropping into the bottom half on 18 points, and incidentally, if we hadn't scored that late goal against Watford, we'd have been 18th. There is a little gap to the bottom three, and it's why that Preston game will be so important, because they're the three at the moment that are adrift. Oxford a bit closer because of that win against us, but we and a few other clubs, including both of the other promoted ones, are in a bit of freefall at the minute, and we could really do with the other three staying down there and just keeping that little buffer, which for us is 9 points at present. Let's go and get through to this game against Norwich though. They've got a fabulous team in comparison. We know it's going to be difficult to get a result, but fingers crossed we can find a way to get one. Well, I think this gives you a bit of an indicator, doesn't it? They've dropped out players like Max Kilman out of the squad entirely. You've got Target, Jonathan Rowe sitting on the bench. And in the starting 11, you've got a lot of changes, but still a very good team. I wonder if they're weakening or strengthening for us. I don't know what they did last time out. But we've not made anywhere near the same amount of changes. Maybe they're still in the Carabao Cup, I don't know. Into the first half against Pochettino's boys. And you know what? Anything other than a defeat is a very good result here. Norwich are going to dominate the ball. We're going to have to try and take advantage out wide as Hugill has nicked the ball on halfway here. Chance to switch out to Diblin. Cutting in on his left foot but can take on the fullback. And for all of our deficits, we've got that raw quality out wide. And Jayden Dans has headed it wide at the post. Maybe just finding the first level he's not going to be ruthless at. And will that affect his market value? Because we were going to need to sell him. As McCallum gets the ball inside to Mepham. Norwich dominating again, having all the territory. As Gibbs plays Finch in. Well done, Kwanzaa. Only away as far as Zolis. In towards Finch again. Not cleared away. Gibbs heads wide. We're just constantly under pressure. I am thinking eventually this year we might have to go 4-3-3. But for now, we're competitive at home. And we've still got the set-piece threat. We dominate out wide to win the corner. And then Jarrell Kwanzaa, the big man, he's up at the back stick. And nobody's beating him there. All 6'6" of him. It is 1-0 Southend. It's against the run of play. But quite frankly, who cares? Well, 5 to the break. Despite that great chance we score on camera, Norwich have not yet had a shot on target. And I'm not sure what we saw there. It was 2 seconds of highlight, just going out for a goal kick. We're going to be leading at the break. It's been a really decent effort from the boys, who again have had to soak up a lot of pressure where Norwich have dominated the ball. But they've really pushed hard, they've worked well out wide, and we've had a threat on the counter, which hasn't always been the case this year. A bit of a worry again, we're relying on a centre-half from a set-piece. The striker's not looking a real threat. Dan's missed one chance, but that's been it, as that's a good save from Rose. Deflected cross at the near post, could well have snuck in. Rotherham winning at Preston, that's a good result for us. Rotherham can stay up, I don't mind it. Preston's still on 9 though, and we need them to stay there, as Kwanzaa heads away. Can we pick up the result here? Even if we get a draw, I'd be relatively pleased, but we've got to try and see this out for as long as possible. Get it to a position where we can't lose the game. There's been a lot of late goals in this championship season, but at the moment, things are looking good for us. 2 of the bottom 3 losing at home, and we've got a set piece with Diblin, which is, I kid you not, diabolical. Sarah brings it away, and we might concede from it. Oh, you might be about to be a big villain here. Sarah, Diblin wins it back, fair play. But Sarah's still got possession. Inside to Sargent. Back to Peroni. Inside to McCallum. Good football with Gibbs, great challenge, but again, it's temporary clearance. We're not getting it away from danger. Ball into Finch, he's missed a sitter. We have got away with murder there. It's an absolutely awful bit of defending. Poor from the set piece as well. We get away with it, and now we've got a chance ourselves. Parks to McKinstry, into Hugill. Is that a penalty, referee? Nothing given. It's away as far as Parker. Parks on the left can cut in. Back to Parker again. Good football, but a big ball over the top. Will it get a result? Dan's rounds the keeper, and he's put it in. And the offside flag goes up. How cruel. You could have done it earlier than that. You didn't have to wait. They've still only had 1 shot on target, Norwich. I was about to make the subs, but it's a corner kick now, and Sarah puts it in. Kwanzaa away, only as far as Mepham. Oh, you're joking. The centre-half has just scored an overhead kick. Chris Mepham would not even attempt that. You know when the game wants you to have a tough season, don't you? When big centre-halves start scoring overhead kicks. He has scored 2 in 124 for Norwich. None this season. And he has just rocked up and put an overhead kick in the top corner over Joe Rose. It's going to be a very long day. Both strikers are knackered. I'm going to have to replace them. We'll put Diblin up front as the advance forward. Presley alongside him. On the right, we'll bring on Goodrum, the new boy. In the middle, Gleeson struggling. Russell Denny's got a heavy match load, so I'm going to bring on McGregor and switch the 2 round. We're going to take off Parks, who's tired at left back for Ishmael, and Ferry on for McKinstry, who's playing poorly. We've got 18 minutes to go. It feels a bit early to have given away the equaliser. There's another set piece, and there it is. Sargent puts it in, and it's offside. We've got away with one. Come on, boys, don't throw it away. Don't have that soft underbelly. We've got 5 minutes to go. We get the stoppage time, our time waste, because every point is crucial at this stage, as Parker plays out with a free kick to Morehouse. If we score another, I'll definitely get it on. Goodrum released on the right, the sub. Can he make the impact again? In the box to Presley. Oh, he's missed from 2 yards. I think it deflected towards an own goal. Parker's been penalised there. He's signalling it was a dive, and I don't blame him. We've got 3 minutes added on. I'm not going to go crazy with the time wasting or anything, but I'm going to put the fullbacks to defensive duty, the midfielders to supporting ones, and just sort of retain that shape with 2 banks of 4. We'll time waste a little bit. And in fact, we're looking knackered, so let's slow it down. A point against Norwich here is a great one, and it keeps us moving on, given some of the other results as well. We've got a free kick though, 2 minutes of it to go. Morehouse in the centre circle, imagine we nick it. Morehouse forced wide to Goodrum, into Diblin. Is he onside? Oh, the flag's up again. Tyler Diblin thought he'd done it. It was a great ball in from Goodrum. He's looking a really good signing. And Watford have just pulled back from 2 down, which is a disaster. It's one of those days, but it's a very decent result. Watford drew 2-2. Preston did lose in the end. And Lincoln, where are you? I can't find you. They've not played yet. But most importantly, the gap from the relegation zone is now 10 points. We've gained 1 on Preston. Oxford have lost as well to stay down there. We just need 3 of that 4 to get cut adrift. We're not worrying about promotion or playoffs or anything this year. We've just got to get steady in the Championship. We've got a big debt for the new stadium. We've got to hold on, because if we go back to League One, this club could be in trouble. So what a result that is, a point on the board, and it doesn't get any easier next time. We go away to now third place Wolves. We'll be back in a minute to see how we get on. Well, a very quick stop off, because this is a bit of a weird one. We've been out of the blue offered a job interview by Portsmouth, which we've obviously not applied for because this is a one club save. We've not been given any media interest or any note about, and perhaps most surprisingly, they're 18th in League One. Now, I get on paper that they're a relatively big club. You can maybe compare it to the Paul Warne situation with Rotherham and Derby a year or two ago, but this does seem a little bit surprising. 2.5-star reputation. What is ours now? 2.5 as well. That is very odd. I'm going to decline the interview, of course, because it would ruin a save, but it's not one I'd want to take up anyway. Going down a division to a same reputation club just doesn't make sense. But there you go. Pompey have tried their luck and they failed. But at least it shows we must be doing a good job. Back in a minute to face Sean Dyche and Wolves. Well, the good news we have got to lean on as we return for our second game is that the fact we've signed a lot of younger players or players with a point to prove and development in them is that they are going to get better during the year. And Joe Hugill is starting to do that as well. Fitness test though, Jayden Danns has had a knock in the week. I'm not sure he's going to be fit to start, but he'll be in the squad if nothing else. And we go away to Wolves, judging what tactic we play. And I think it's going to have to be the 3-5-2 because I'm looking at their team and they're playing very aggressive. And I don't want to get caught out by it. So we're going to change to the back five. We're going to go a bit more cautious. And we'll be back in a minute to run through the team I've picked. Right then, a couple of either bold or stupid decisions today. But it's a slightly bigger change than we normally have for this game. We've gone for, of course, the usual one, which is the second striker, Jayden Danns, out for Baggott. He comes in as the third central defender. We've gone for Brooking, a right wing-back, instead of Williams, who's really struggled whenever he's played in the back five. That's despite actually being the more natural of the two in the wing-back role. I've put Russell Denny in for Morehouse, who has declined a bit in recent performances. Goodrum has earned his start. He comes in on the right. Diblin switches to the left, and McKinstry has a day out. And Hugill is up front on his own. We've dropped Jayden Danns off the bench because of his fitness. Sonny Hilton is on for him. And that is the team that we've gone for today. In fact, we've not got any centre halves, have we? So McKinstry will drop out for Smith as well. And that is what we're going to go for. Let's see if we can shock the odds away at Wolves. Sean Dyche has got his team well drilled. They've only lost 3 all season. And if we're going to get something out of this, we're going to have to be at our best. Well, 5 changes for Wolves, and their squad is bordering on ridiculous. Their substitutes bench includes Carlos Vinicius, Jose Sarr, Wharton, who they signed for 10 million in the summer, Trusty, Hwang Hee-chan. I mean, it's just silly, isn't it? We look at the starting lineup, you've got loads of talent in there. Guedes Silva, Archie Gray, who's joined them, Kerr Smith, bit of a hero for us back in FM22 on Twitch, Lamptey in at right back as well. So let's go straight through the dressing room. Say there's no pressure on us today. We're going to sit back a little bit, but out wide, we've got to try and take advantage. We're going to trust the back three to defend. We're going to try and catch them on the counter. Fingers crossed we can pick up a result, but it doesn't look easy at the minute, does it? We've got a pretty horrible run of games coming up now. That point against Norwich was a bonus, but can we build as Goodrum, the new man, looks a threat. Oh, good effort. Good save by the keeper. Tell you what, he might end up being a real gem of a signing. The way he started here, making a real impact at the club. As Diblin has got a corner, in-swinger to the back post, up goes Kwanzaa. But Ziggy, the goalkeeper, does very well. Deals with it comfortably, but 10 minutes gone, and we've had the better start, although Jasper's got a set piece for them. Can we defend us competently? George in, Gray's there. Diblin's fouled him, he's given a penalty. It's so harsh. The amount of penalties we've been giving away is just scandalous in every save. I don't know what's causing it. Fabio Silva puts it in a corner. Joe Rose can't get there. And it's 1-0 Wolves. Probably a sign of things to come. I think this might be a pretty long day. I've got to be honest with you. Well, throw in on the right-hand side for Tariq Lamptey as Jasper gets the ball in towards Guedes. Oh, Joe Rose, that's not good enough. You've done okay since you've come in the team, but we are starting to miss the big man now. Because Daniel's injury has meant that we've got him in goal. And that is a pretty feeble header straight at him. There's no way going around it. As we've got a free kick in with Gleeson. Parker hits the post. Oh, it's Kwanzaa with the header in the end. Oh, it's not going to be our day. To have the great save at the start, to hit the post with that one, to give away the goals we have, the dodgy penalty, and then, of course, that one where the keeper should have saved it. We're missing from set pieces, but we've still got a threat, and that's what we have to maintain this season. There are going to be games like this one, the West Ham one springs to mind, where we're just going to be second best, but we've got to deal with it. As Brooking gives it to Gleeson, who gives it away. Wolves counter, but Parker does well. We are having our moments here. We're not being completely battered, but we don't look as threatening as Goodrum gets in. Went first time's a solid effort, but just wide of the post in the end. Bottom of the table, Lincoln are beating Luton, which is not what I wanted to see. And I could do with my club doing us a favour here. As we reach half-time, it is 2-0 to Wolves. Will they make it worse with the 20 seconds remaining? Diblin wins the header, but only as far as Lamptey. And he'll get away down the right-hand side. Good work from him to take on the fullback. Parks does well to hold him up, but he's given away the foul as he carries on, crosses in. Headed away by Parker. Goodrum chases it out, but they're still under pressure. Down the left they go. Wolves put it in. Jasper's up at the back post. Rose misses it again. The post saves him this time. It's 2-0 at the break. We look like conceding every time they come forward. We've had a threat ourselves, but we're just going to tell the lads we're happy because they're fighting. They're in the game. But they're not able to offer enough consistently enough. And it feels like a matter of time before this perhaps gets out of hand. The only solace we can take is that Luton have just scored 2 to turn it around. Watford are being held at Huddersfield. Preston, how are you doing? They're losing 1-0 at Norwich. Huddersfield have taken the lead as well. So no damage being done at the moment when it comes to the bottom 3 and that gap. We're 25 to go though. Let's make a few changes because Hugill is going to be replaced by Presley. We're going to bring Ferry on for Diblin, who's had a poor game. In midfield, I'm just going to give Gleeson a rest for Roddy McGregor. And we'll keep him that way round, in fact. Brookings had a shocker at right wing back as well. Maybe no one's capable of playing there. But I'll leave him on because we don't need him for the next game. Parks off for Ishmael. And Kwanzaa, you can come off for Dylan Smith, who doesn't often get an appearance. So he'll come on and play the last 25. And Kwanzaa gets a rest for the weekend. As it's a free kick for Southend with Reece Russell-Denny. Tipped over the bar. It was comfortable for the keeper, but certainly made him do some work, which was nice. Goodrum's got off corner kick on the left, and in swinger, up to the back post. Baggett's up there. Loses the header to Kerr Smith, who is also about 6'6", if I remember rightly. And Brooking will get a throw on the right, but I like the fact we've been a bit attacking in this game. We've had a go. You can see we're really struggling for goals, and Hugill, he is a championship striker eventually, once he gets settled. The other two, Presley and Dans, I think League One, after that they've met their match. As Ferry gets in, Will Ferry hits the post. Rare moment of magic from him. It's a bit worrying that Joe Rose is now our best rated player after throwing one in the net earlier on. But the fact again, the expected goals is over 1 and we've not scored. There is a key problem in this team. If you can't score goals, you aren't going to win games. And we mentioned it when we had that positive start, didn't we? We were relying on clean sheets. We were winning 1-0, 2-0. Fabio Silva's just made it 3 for Wolves. Again, we're struggling against them. They're a great side going forward. In comparison to the rest of the Championship, them and West Ham are ridiculous. But going forward, we've got to find a way to score. And I don't know whether that means a change of shape. The only positive today is while Preston have picked up a late point, none of that bottom 3 have won. Oxford have drawn as well. There's not been a lot of damage in terms of the relegation zone. We've told the lads they've done well because they fought hard, but they're not happy with that, which is maybe a good sign. Let's get through to the schedule and see when we're going to be back. But the simple story is, after 1 point out of 6, we finished the episode as we started it. 9 points clear of the relegation zone. But the unbeaten run of 2 has now ended, and that maybe puts us in trouble. You can see Aaron Presley, 11 without a goal now. We're going to say, I need you to score. One polite chat before we start digging the heels in, and maybe we have to then consider letting him go because he's not really delivered this season. We have a look at when we're going to be back though. I'm not actually going to leave it that long because I want to show a game against the club we're managing on Twitch, the club that I support in real life. We are away to Luton Town on the 11th of December. We're away at Fulham just after that, who are up in the top 10, who of course have still got some Premier League quality. And we've got 5 games between now and then, which are going to be pretty important but also at times pretty tough. So the Preston game is the one we've got to get a result. The rest of them are going to be tricky because Derby, Blackburn, Reading all doing well. Plymouth, not great, but away from home, very much a more difficult task than the reverse fixture. And then we will be back in mid-December for Luton and Fulham. We've got deadline day with that big one at Watford at the end of January. This is shaping up to be a really interesting season. We're down to 18th in the Championship, but will the slide continue? If you enjoyed this one and seeing us starting to struggle a little bit at last, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments if you think we survive, where we need to improve in January, and do you think we're going to have to change formation? Or do we just accept at the minute that we're doing the right things, but we haven't got enough quality to win most of the games? We're still above a point a game, we're still doing all right. So if you want to stay up to date and find out how the rest of the season goes, then subscribe down below, turn that notification bell on to make sure you don't miss a thing. We're going to continue with the daily stories up until Christmas Eve. We'll have something special on Christmas Day, and then we'll carry on as normal straight after that. But thank you very much for your support as always. If you've missed the head coach, which will be back tomorrow, you can find that playlist, including a transfer special last time out for the new season, up in the eye above. There's also links to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and so much more. And I'll see you back here next time as we return with Southend, hoping to avoid a relegation scrap.